Hello everyone, welcome to Redbust US channel. In this video, we'll look at the USCIS official news regarding H1B 2024 lottery selections, what they covered in the press release, and we'll also cover some of the common FAQs in this article, in this video, sorry. So this is what we will cover today, regarding the announcement, the receipt delays, on common FAQs. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, do subscribe for getting regular updates. So this is the news actually. If you go to USCIS website, this is what you will see. It's under the alert. So we're going to look at the details of this as well right now. So firstly, they just said that they've received enough registrations to meet the FY 2024 cap, which is nothing but the cap is like the term that's used for 85,000 slots that are mandated by Congress for H1B program. So what they mean is that they've received enough registrations to meet that H1B cap of 85,000. Yeah, and this was received during March 1st and March 20th. Again, the initial date was 17th. They extended it to 20th due to some glitches. Again, they say that its initial round of the lottery is complete. So basically, it's the first round is completed, and they used a random selection process. Basically, there was no priority given to anybody. It's essentially random selection. That's what they confirm. Also, they said that they've notified all employers who submitted the H1B registrations, for FY 2024, and who were selected, they should have been notified. So technically, if you applied for this year, your employer should have already known by now if you're selected or not. Yeah, so that's what they mean. Next, in terms of statuses, right? So if somebody logs in as your employer, you will see certain statuses. So if they see a status as submitted, that means that the registration is still eligible for next rounds. It is not selected technically, but it's not that it is done yet. If let's say there is a second round lottery, then your petition, your registration would be still eligible for that second round. Yeah, but if it shows selected, it means that you were selected in the H1B lottery. And if it shows denied, then essentially what happened was, your employer, for whatever reason, he submitted multiple entries for your details, and they're considered invalid. So that's the reason if you see denied. And sometimes if the payment fails, then you would see something like invalidated failed payment. So if you see the status, then it means that you were not really like part of that lottery. So any payment issues, it won't be working as well, right? So one thing you won't see is the not selected status. So this will not appear at the moment. This will only appear towards the end of the fiscal year. When USCIS decides that they don't need any more registrations or any more lottery selections, they will basically then set it. So this can happen like next year technically, right? End of fiscal year, which is going to be like January or even later also, we don't know at this point. Yeah. Now, in terms of where to file and all of these information, right? So, if you look at the selection notice, it clearly tells that you have 90 days. So they just confirmed the same thing that, if you're selected, you have a filing window between April 1st and June 30th. So that's when you can file the H1B petition for the H1B lottery. So if you do not file between that filing window, then the registration is technically will become invalid after the date. So you can't use it after the June 30th date. So this is very, very important. So ensure that you work with your employer and file if you are selected. Again, your employer cannot file this. There is no online filing option for the petition. So essentially, they'll have to create like a big package with a lot of paperwork and everything, with LCA information, all of that, and then send it to the USCIS website, USCIS, service centers. And where they need to send is actually called the service center. There are a few service centers where they can send. And if you look at the service selection notice, this is samples from the selection notice. There'll be a section where under the beneficiary confirmation, it will say, the service center. For example, in this case, it's California Service Center. So, and where it was selected and all of that, right? So this is where you need to send that particular, your petition. Now, in terms of a few other things, so if let's say you applied under master quota, you need to submit proof of your US master's degree or your transcripts or degree completion, right? Sometimes, if you don't have any of these, let's say you completed the, program requirements, then you can go to your registrar and get a course completion certificate as well. That also works, right? So you need to submit that. Otherwise, then they will not, consider it as a valid, petition. And again, getting H1B lottery, means nothing literally. Of course, you get a slot to file, but it is up to the employer to establish the H1B, program requirements, right? To say that the employer has to submit all the documents to prove that the applicant has or meets all the requirements for H1B eligibility. Like it could be degree or experience and all sorts of things, right? So these are, very, very important, right? You can't, get away from them. Just that you got in lottery, it doesn't mean that everything is done. So it's just a beginning step. Also, in terms of some logistics, they don't use any prepaid mailers. This was used in the past, but now just to save time, they're using some automated first class mails. So you can't really use any prepaid mailers. So that's the guidance they've given. And also their intent is they will send a H1B receipt notice, which is nothing but I-79C notice of action. So this is something that you see for most of the USCIS forms that they send. So you'll also receive this I-79C notice of action from that. Yeah. In terms of some delays with receipt notices, they said that due to large volume there can be delays, and they say you need to wait for 30 days. Yeah, if you do not receive anything after 30 days, then you can call the customer service. So they suggest that if you submit a second petition, despite the confirmation that your FedEx or UPS delivered that, then they will treat it as a duplicate, and then they will deny it or revoke that. Yeah, so very, very important. So I mean, this is something that employer would do, but just for information as well, right? But if, let's say, for whatever reason the FedEx did not deliver, it got lost during routing, whatever happened, right? Then in that case, then they can submit a second petition with proof or that, that they missed it and they're filing a second one, so that they don't treat that as a duplicate. Yeah. So this is very, very important. So in the past, some people submitted twice and they got, denied. So again, this is something your employer will take care. But again, this is something you as applicant also need to be aware of, right? Again, very, very important part. There is no data that is released by USCIS on how many registrations were submitted for FY 2024 yet. Whatever numbers you see, 550K, 750K, 1 million, whatever the random number is, right? This is all speculations done by people, either lawyers or including ourselves, right? We have written a H1B predictions article, so based on some analysis. So these are all predictions or speculations done by users. So as of now, there is no official data by USCIS, and they have not even released any data how many they were selected as well, right? So we don't. And also another important part, at this point, nobody knows if there will be second round lottery. So last year there was no second round lottery because they selected about over 120K petitions, 120K registrations. So the before year they had 3 rounds of lottery. So again, this is a recession year as well. We are expecting that there could be some changes, but nobody knows. It all depends on how many people who got selected file or not, right? So at this point we don't know if there is second round lottery. In terms of premium processing, which is basically if you're new, if you want the result in 15 days, then you can file for premium processing. You have to pay additional 2,500 USD for that. So again, there is no restrictions as per USCIS. So technically this is allowed. So that's what our assumption is, right? So if you want, you can file in a premium processing. Another couple of important things, right? Like, FAQs. If let's say your employer said that you're not selected, is it done a deal? Yeah. So this is like, kind of a tricky thing, right? Until we know the exact numbers, how many they've selected, we really cannot say if there will be a second round or not. So, but you can think of like, okay, you're almost done, but if there is a second round lottery, then your luck could again prevail. So if there is a third round lottery, so at this point it's very hard to say. But if you did not get selected, I think you should think of your alternative plans and start planning in general. But again, it's not done yet. But again, we will have to wait and see. The second one is if your employer has not informed, then not yet, has not informed me yet, then I may not select it. Well, sometimes there are delays. Employees, so if you look large companies, they take a while for their immigration departments to work with the attorneys and get all of this. So give it some time. So again, have a wait some more time, and if your employer comes back and says you're not selected, then unfortunately you're not selected. Yeah. So just give them some time, right? So last one is, let's say some people applied, let's say you had multiple offers and you applied and now you got multiple selections. So am I in trouble, right? So this is a very, very tricky question. The thing is, if the offers were really genuine, like let's say you got an offer from Google or Microsoft or Meta, right? And let's say all of them applied and then you got selected in all of them, there is no problem whatsoever with that, right? Because these are genuine offers, they went through the process and all of that. So in this case, there is no issue there. But let's say, for whatever reason you work with, let's say, there are a lot of people, who do some of these things to bend the rules, right? Like working with multiple employers and trying to file it in basically kind of working with IT body shops to file multiple to increase the chances in lottery. So if you do that, then you could be in trouble, right? The reason is USCIS, if you see on the screen, this is something that they released last year. This is called NOID, Notice of Intent to Deny, where they did like a extreme analysis of data. If you're in computer science, right, data is everything. So they can actually easily do correlation between the attorneys, the addresses and all of that. So they really are trying to weed out all the people who try to game the system. So if you really applied multiple selections and try to game the system, then again, you have to check with a lawyer, you could be in trouble as well. So it's hard to say at this point, but again, this is something you need to be aware of, right? So don't never ever try to do something that's going to be creating problems for you. All in all, this is a sample selection notice. We did a video on this separately, but if you haven't seen it, this is how the selection notice looks like. It was a registration selection. Ask your employer for something like this, and then but you can't verify the authenticity of this, unfortunately, because you can't verify this number and all of that, but you have to trust them, right? So this is how it will look. So overall, so that's it, folks. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe for getting any updates. We continue to post updates on H1B and other programs on the channel. Thank you again for watching.